Welcome to this episode of Sunny Silver Linings. Returning as this week's guest is Robin Robbins, CEO of Technology Marketing Toolkit and the MSP channel's top marketing guru, back for part 2 of her very insightful interview with Sunny. In this episode, she talks about setting up your sales force to be successful by backing them with a great marketing team, and how grateful she is for her clients and others in the MSP channel. And now, your host, the founder and CEO of IT by Design, Mr. Sunny Kayla. Over to you, Sunny.
You made a very important point that if you hire a salesperson and you don't put marketing behind that person, then you are not setting up that person for success. And a smart person is not going to come and work for you if you don't have the marketing engine ready. And that is so important. And I know at IT by Design, we were first all like sales heavy. Like, let's say if I'm spending, we benchmark our numbers from the beginning with the MSP, some of the like SLI type of numbers, and the number was 10% of the top line revenue. You put it, Sunny, you should put it into sales and marketing. And we were bigger percentage of that revenue was going into sales. And as soon as I switched from more sales to marketing, shifted that budget, stuff started changing. And as you probably know, that Gary Vee was our keynote speaker at our Build It annual conference. And by the way, he published something yesterday online, and he mentioned IT by Design and Build It and his overall talk there. And his topic was sales is just bad marketing. And he mentioned that on his platforms, referencing Build It talk. And that is, that aligns with what you just said, Robin, there, that sales person or salespeople without marketing are not going to be successful. So can we talk about that a little bit, take a deeper dive, that if I'm MSP and I have now, let's say, first of all, what percentage do you recommend that MSPs should put into, as a percentage of their revenue should allocate to sales and marketing? And how should they go about building the revenue engine? Marketing first or sales? Or if they can do both, at least a little bit both on both sides from the talent perspective, should they hire marketing admin, marketing manager, or sales? So how you look at this issue?
Well, I think I'm not a big fan of just having an artificial number of you've got to spend 10% of your gross on marketing, because that's your gross revenue has absolutely nothing to do with the marketing budget. For one, it should be a byproduct of your goals. How fast do you want to grow? Because there are a lot of companies that get funding and they're making zero net. So they're acquiring customers at a loss because the goal is to grow and get that up to speed. So they're cash flowing that. And that's not a multiple of revenue. That's based on goals. That's based on the type of customer you're trying to target, the sales cycle. I mean, if you're selling to consumers, there's a quicker turn, lower cost for lead than if you're trying to get to a CEO of a company that's got 30 to 50 employees and convince them to come and have you be their IT department. So like first of all, I know everybody wants a simple thing, like they want a simple rule of thumb, but these things are not simple. And a simple rule of thumb is only going to screw you up. It's not going to help you because these are complex topics with a lot of variables. And I know that's as about as popular as a turd in a punch bowl, of an answer. I know nobody wants the complicated answer. So to your point about marketing budgets, I couldn't give a simple formula other than to say, I will say that if you can't make money without money, you're not going to make it with it either. So having a lot of money isn't necessarily an instant, well, everything's going to work, because I know a lot of people who dump thousands of dollars into marketing and it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So, I think first, what I would recommend for these guys, the first thing is you have to learn good marketing and sales fundamentals. You have just like, like the reason you learn how to be a technician, right? You have those skills, and therefore it's easier to manage technicians because you know what the job is and you know what's supposed to be done and you know what success looks like. And that's, so when you're trying to hire sales and marketing people or put a marketing plan in place and you don't have any education on that, it's like you're going to set up for failure. That's Sunny, that's the whole premise of why I created the toolkit the way I did, because I was working for different marketing agencies. And you got business owners who are coming to us and paying us thousands of dollars as an agency with the idea that they think if they pay us this money, we're going to generate leads for them. And sometimes we did, sometimes most of the time it wasn't what they expected. That's why most, if you look at the average marketing agency, they only keep clients for about 12 to 18 months. That's it, because then they go on to the next agency, and it's not just small, it's big. I mean, that's why you've seen KFC go from, it was Kentucky Fried Chicken to Kitchen Fresh Chicken to KFC to, they're like, it's these new ad companies coming in.
Yeah.
So, you have to learn marketing. That's why in the toolkit we build out, you have to know, how do you pick a target market? How do you develop a unique selling proposition? How does lead generation actually work? And you got to know enough so that you can make good decisions, at least know the difference between good marketing and bad marketing. Because if you don't, all you're doing is hiring people and outsourcing, writing checks all along the way. And you don't know if it's a good check. You don't know, right? So I think first and foremost, you have got to be educated, invest in your own learning and education and learning how to be a better salesperson, the sales process, practicing sales. And so to answer, because you asked me a couple of questions. One was about the budget. One was about where to start. You also, as far as who's the first person you hire, I mean, that depends on the situation. If you've got a lot of managed services accounts, I mean, I know of some MSPs that they have 70 clients, 100 clients, and they don't have an account manager. And that's crazy. Like, they're trying to be a part-time CEO, part-time account manager, part-time outside sales, part-time appointment setter, part-time, like hire somebody who can be a customer service or account manager for your accounts if you have a lot. If you don't have a lot, then maybe a marketing admin's the best place to start, because they can start helping you to implement marketing to generate leads. You start following up on those leads and closing those deals. And while you're doing that, document what you're doing, how you're doing it. As you do the job, you document the job. That's how you work on the business and in the business simultaneously. You do the job and you document how it should be done and you learn it. And then you hire people to start replacing these lower money tasks that you need to do. So I think, because you asked me quite a few things in there. I hope I
think
nailed
you
them
answered.
all.
So what I'm hearing you say is that it depends on the situation, right? So you got to be a situational leader. You got to know what your plan is, that rather than just looking at that benchmark number, 10% or those recommendations, you got to know what it means for you in your world and your business plan that you mentioned in the beginning. Are you looking at value creation and getting that overall, cash at the end that you want to just invest? And you want to be the DocuSign or some other company where you're not profitable at all until that event happens. And it's really knowing what your business plan is, then aligning that overall investment and allocations there from that perspective.
Yeah.
And also knowing where you are in terms of, if you don't have anyone in the marketing, maybe starting with marketing admin. If you have some already system in place, then having your who, so that you can look at macro level skill understanding by being part of your community there. And then this is the first time I learned, actually, you have the marketing managers group as well. If I'm one of those MSPs where I do have a marketing manager and I want to make sure that I invest in their trainings and other things and enrolling them along with me. So I learn as an entrepreneurial, I look at marketing from the entrepreneurial lens, and then my marketing manager look at things from the marketing manager's lens, and we both can benefit from that. And so it really depends on your situation. That's what I heard.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's like if you go to the store and you buy a scarf,
Yeah.
it's one size, right? You don't have small, medium, and people try to, to give an answer about who do you hire first and how. I can't give you a scarf, it really depends on a lot of things. And I think, if you said like, what are if they're small, if you're a small MSP and you go, okay, what are the most essential things you need? Okay. Well, you need a good website, right? You need that, because that's the hub of all marketing. It's got to be functioning, meaning the forms work. It's written properly. I would encourage you to have it optimized for search engine optimization. You need that. I absolutely 100% believe you need a CRM. I know a lot of people fight me on this, but the CRM is it's your hub for managing opportunities and leads. And I ask MSPs this. I say, how would you like to try and deliver managed services without a PSA, like a ticketing system and an RMM tool? Mm-hmm. And they go, well, you couldn't. I'm like, well, why? Well, you could try to deliver managed services without those tools, and you could just use spreadsheets and Outlook, but it's a hot mess, and you would not be able to scale it, and it would not be profitable. It's the same with marketing. You're trying to do marketing and you don't have a CRM in place to organize, collect data on, follow up on, track your opportunities, your sales leads opportunities. So you need a CRM. On social, I'd say you need Google My Business and LinkedIn are the two most important, like if you want to say a social, like a good SEO plan, but Google My Business really done right with reviews, very important. You need some sort of email marketing system, which is your CRM, because, leads are going to come in. You have to have a way of tracking them, following up on them, drip marketing. That's what like your CRM needs. And then from there, you need some way of prospecting. And there's a lot of things you could do for prospecting. I mean, when I started my business, I didn't have two nickels to rub together. I literally bartered my time to do some copywriting services for a web design firm. They designed my website for free, and I did some of their marketing for free. I didn't even have money to spend on a website. And so when I started, I did everything through JV partners. I reached out to associations and people I knew and offered to do, at the time it was teleseminar. That was like the new tech. Today, webinars, obviously Zoom and stuff. But that I offered to do free reports and write articles and go speak and do teleseminars for these associations. And that got me in front of a lot of customers and generated leads, and it didn't cost me anything. And that was my main form of marketing for the first 2 years of my business. I shouldn't say it was the main form. I mean, I was doing, after I got some revenue going, I started doing pay-per-click. I started doing, obviously I was doing email marketing. I was doing, direct mail. At some point I started that. I hired marketing people, but, so I would say that the core essential, you need a really good search engine optimized functioning website that has good copy, good lead gen on it, a good Google My Business, a good LinkedIn profile, a CRM, and a little bit of hustle. I mean, that's like, literally, those are like, anybody can start and grow on with that. Right. And if you like LinkedIn, just doing connections or networking groups. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do without spending a lot of money to get customers and start some lead flow and get some cash flow going. And guys, if you're not willing to do that, then don't go hire a telemarketing firm and spend $3,000, $4,000 a month or whatever the hell they're charging. I mean, like it's not going to work. Because you don't have a CRM, you don't have a sales system, you haven't done it's just not going to work. Don't go sign up for Google pay-per-click. If you're not going to just do the blocking and tackling of networking with people, picking up the phone, making connections with people, those are things that you can do without spending any money on marketing and can be highly effective. But again, it comes down to the owner saying, I want to be a sales-driven CEO. I have to sell my company. I have to sell me. And that means not delegating to some marketing firm, hey, run all my social media ads so I can sit at my desk and be a hermit and not talk to anybody. And you just bring me, it's not, I'm telling you, it's not going to work. You've got to get involved, and being involved means meeting people, talking to people, learning sales, learning persuasion, learning influence, developing your list in your CRM of these prospects, staying in touch with them, using your CRM. You need to start developing a list of prospects. And like all that, this doesn't cost a lot of money. I mean, it really doesn't, but it does require time and commitment and dedication. And goes back to kind of full circle to what we talked about we started.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. And what you just said, I'm interested and curious to know how you got into MSP, but I'm going to hold on to that question a little bit. So it was very interesting to learn how you got it, your kind of origin story. And so I do have one. So in terms of tools, LinkedIn, Google, having your CRM, like we use the HubSpot here, and since we implemented HubSpot, it was a game changer. And now we can have those journeys defined and workflows, and it's really beautiful. It kind of automates a lot of things with the marketing automation tool, with nurturing campaigns and everything else you can put in. From the training point of view, before we get into how you got into MSP world, any advice on the training side that if I have one person, or I want to just, I want to get more educated on marketing as a subject, so that I can do that, or I can build that capability for my MSP. Any advice there for MSPs?
Well, I mean, it's like a soft lob for me, buy the toolkit, buy our program. And that's the whole point of the program. And what differentiated me from a lot of the agencies I work with. Agencies, and most people, if they're doing Google pay-per-click, or they're doing your social media, or they're doing your SEO, or whatever they're doing, they're not going to teach you what good lead generation marketing is. They're not going to teach you the strategies of marketing. So when I created my business, that was, the toolkit really is 3 components. The first component is that critical, necessary education that you need to understand how lead generation works, why it works, why we make the decisions we do, how, you need that education. So that's one component. The second component of the toolkit is the templates, because I find that trying to teach MSPs how to write a free report or an email or something, it's like, forget it. I just write it for them. So there's all those templates so they can cut and paste. And make, at least have a starting point. Like a lot of these templates are soup starter. A lot of them you can use verbatim, but you need to tweak them a little bit. So you have the templates, and then the third component is the support. And we have mastermind groups. Like the marketing manager group is a mastermind group. And that's why people have their marketing team involved. Because imagine sending your marketing team or your marketing manager to go sit in a room and meet with on a regular basis all these other marketing managers who are implementing campaigns, who are sharing here's something that worked really well for us. So now, or if your marketing manager is struggling and you can't figure out why aren't my Facebook ads working? They can go to this group of, 80 other marketing managers and say, and somebody's bound to be able to answer that. So now the owner doesn't have to be the person managing that, all of that. You get that wisdom. I mean, my marketing people, I want them, I involve them all the time in groups, even outside of our industry, because that's how you learn, right? So I would just say, if you want to, I mean, obviously you line me up for an easy plug, which is that's what our program does. It teaches you marketing. It gives you the templates. It gives you the systems and processes. We sell Keep. So we use Keep, which is Infusionsoft. We sell that to MSPs with the campaigns all baked in, because Keep was the first marketing automation platform. HubSpot has come up. I know that they have made improvements, but Keep was the original gangster on that, and they still get top ratings for automation. I know HubSpot's very good. I'm not saying that it's bad, but it's, we started with Keep because no other CRM had that marketing level of automation. So so that's the easy plug. But I mean, there are a lot of books and tapes and seminars on marketing out there. The one thing, I'm not one of those people that'll tell you read everything you can get. One, nobody has unlimited time. When you're running a business, you can't read everything you get, right? Two, reading is not necessarily doing, so you're not learning, just by reading. The other thing, I think, number three, is the most expensive advice is bad advice. And there are a lot of, I hate to say, because I'm in this industry, but there's a lot of marketing gurus out there that are full of shit. And they're telling you how to grow and run a business, and they've never run or grown a business. I know of sales trainers who will teach you, here's how you hire a salesperson, here's how you manage a sales team, and go look at their LinkedIn profile. They don't have a sales team. So, there's a lot of inconsistency and incongruence. So you got to be very careful also who you take advice from. Advice is not always welcome. Sometimes the person who's giving you the advice, it's kind of like there's people like, I love Dan Kennedy, right? Dan Kennedy has taught me just more about marketing, I think, than anybody else I've ever known. However, he's not like, I don't agree with him on everything. And he's sometimes tough to listen to, right? Like he wouldn't be on my top list of people if I had a party that I would want to hang out and invite. Like, he's not even on the list, right? It's just like, I don't particularly like broccoli, but I eat some because it's good for me. So, the other thing is, don't just seek advice that aligns with what you already believe. Look for people who their advice might rub you the wrong way, or it might be counterintuitive or counter, to what we wouldn't say it that way, or we wouldn't do it that way. That's the point. Sometimes if you're not getting the result, don't go find people who agree with you. Go find someone who completely is opposite of what you're doing now and what you think is real, because that may be the breakthrough, because they have an entirely different point of view that you're not implementing. But again, most people, they want to find advice and get told their correct thinking, and someone that aligns with what they already want to believe to be true. And therefore they don't make progress, because, the big breakthroughs often come through a radical change in the way you're going about something or doing something. And we as human beings like to be right more than anything. And we don't like to admit that maybe the way we've been looking at something is completely and totally wrong. We might not like the other viewpoint. So again, learning and expanding, I wouldn't say read everything, but go get educated. Look for people who are not just writing good books and giving good speeches, but actually are running successful companies. That's why I love Jack Welch on leadership, because the dude, I mean, look what he did, so look at people, at the results they're producing before you start looking at their advice, and then seek out that education from those types of people. Someone to use my friend Dean Jackson, you want somebody who's delivering a field report, not a book report. And that's really important. And I heard him say that once, and it has stuck with me forever.
Yeah. And writing manual without really having that experience is not a good idea. And don't read that manual, which is not, based on that real life experience, or where you have been there, done that successfully, and then you earn the right to write that manual. But another thing that I see is that talking to, again, Will and Logan Noble and Ross. And so Will, he took a trip with me to our India office. We take about 20 to 30 MSP CEOs to this annual retreat, which we didn't do now because of this year. Last year in February, we spent like 1 week together, and all they were talking about was how, as a result of him joining your program, and how he kind of started then speaking. Then again, he has a technical background, and he started speaking, and now he's like on a lot of these different shows as well. That as a result of his association, how his business changed. Now he has he published a book as well. And look at Ross, what he's doing online, right? So when CEOs are intentional about trainings and learning, and they go to programs where that ecosystem talks about that overall, that you are surrounding yourself with like-minded people, where they talk about the subject, it definitely helps. And
For
when
sure.
you look at MSP, it's a very unique space. So having a marketing guru talk about just general marketing may not work in the MSP the way it should be, because you need to understand that and you have to translate that to your target customer. You need to see overall things with that lens of a MSP customer. And what you have done, and I know what so from 2005 onwards, I'm seeing you, and I see that, I mean, that those many years of experience in one niche, one channel, I just don't see anyone else with that type of experience there. And thank you so much for coming, Robin. I truly
Mhm.
appreciate you coming to my show. And
It was great.
yeah, so thank you for your partnership as well.
No, and I think, your story, your personal story of your background and how you started your company, I think we are kindred spirits. And again, for those listening, I am very, very grateful for this channel, for the clients that we have, for people like you. So, I just appreciate you having me on, and I hope it was valuable for people. I know I have a tendency to just kind of wander around a bit. I feel like my brain has so many tabs open so many times that it's hard, it's hard for me. My mind is going so fast. My mouth can't even keep up, and I talk fast. But I hope it was valuable for you and the community. And thank you for everything that you guys do for the MSP community as well.
Very, very valuable insights, Robin. Thank you so much. And I always love your ideas. Just spending time with you is always awesome. And thank you so much.